Hi everyone, let's talk about Foothills, which you might have heard me talk about in a recent video. If you saw my videos for Snowdonia last year, you know that I absolutely love that game, and this is a two-player only, reimagining of it, a Snowdonia experience, it says up there, and I think it does an excellent job of it. Snowdonia itself is an excellent two-player game. It's got just the right amount of restricting the action spaces and changing the cubes in the bag and stuff to make it a really tight, fantastic experience with two. But this being entirely designed for that, everything about the game is concentrating on what the other person is doing. You have to be so aware of it, and you do in normal Snowdonia as well, but more so here because it's not just one line and it's you're standing off with the other person about when you want to excavate and stuff. There are 6 lines here, and a lot of variety in the combinations of those 6 lines. Not just in the different powers that they have, the different stations, the different surveyor spots that they have, the spots that you'll get from the starting locations where you get the tickets, but also from the interactions between which ones come out, because that shared thing between 1 and 2, well, if only 1 and only 2 are out, then that's just the end of a line and it's just normal. There's some majority for that line, but when they're together it becomes one where the tracks converge and you could end up ending 2 tracks instantly and maybe rushing the end of the game. Having the one that's got the shared starting line, well, if only one of those is out, the ticket that you get from it is just the same as any other ticket. It just gets you into one line. But when they're both out, the cards that all rely on, build a station in a line that you've got a ticket for, that is a lot more powerful now that the red and grey are out and you've got that ticket, because you've got access from one ticket to 2 lines. So really nice things like that in the variety of them. And using 6 out of 8, the combinations, I'm not going to work it out right now, but a huge number of combinations, I know. So with all of this happening, it's easier to just get wrapped up in your own stuff, because you could be working on completely different lines, but you always have to be aware of what you're going to do. And it's not just as simple as, or you do need to be aware still of excavating, and okay, if I excavate this huge space because I really want the rubble, then it's making it perfect. There's the perfect amount for you to now swoop in and get 2 points from clearing out 2 spaces. So I can't do that yet. And similarly, if I clear this space out, then this station is available for you now, so you're going to go in there. Or seeing that this station's been available for a little while, and I can see that you've you've excavated this thing and you've just got the exact right resources for it. Maybe I'm just gonna wait for you to do that first. Or if there's one station's already been built there and the surveyor spot is available, then I'm just gonna put my surveyor there, so you can still build that station if you want to, but you're not going to get that bonus from it. And it's doing some fantastic things to make this feel like a duel without any of it being, negative interaction. And that is perfect for it. We hate any kind of take that in games, and you could play this where you are just trying to be one step ahead and getting in each other's way. You can play it in that really confrontational way, but you can also just be live and let live and just, not let the other person get away with too much. If they open a station spot for you, you can think, oh, that's perfect for me, I'm going in there now. And you're not purposely getting in their way. It's such a fantastic way of, because you do need to focus in when it's a 2-player only game. You do need to make the players, it has to be really interactive, and you have to be involved in what the other person is doing. But, unlike some other games, Seven Wonders Duel, you don't have to take something that was great originally and just introduce just a load of fighting in between the players to introduce that interaction. I really, really like that element of it. It's got beautiful art, as original Snowdonia did. I've said in other games that I really like Clemens Franz's art, and it's probably down to Agricola and things like that being my introduction into Eurogames, that seeing his art still says Eurogame to me, and so I really like that. And it's familiar if you're familiar with the Snowdonia framework as well, in that you have the same kind of actions. The action system is a huge part of the game, and it's so well done in that it's just action selection instead of worker placement. We each have these actions individually now, and we're doing the same things that we were doing in normal Snowdonia, but now, when you have used that action, it's not just a case of, oh, it's blocked off for this round and I'll pull it out next round. You have to do something about getting the cards back. You have kind of inferior versions of different actions. So this is the stockyard action. The other side of it is always the action that usually lets you convert things. It's not always that on the other side, but it's a weaker thing. So it's usually like, say the starting card for Marty was, it's get 3 resources on one side, The other side is do the conversion action that you usually get to do 3 times, but you only get to do it twice, because these are the inferior actions you want to take, so you get access to the really good ones again. But it's not always inferior in a really bad way, because sometimes it's really convenient that even though it's not as good as the golden version of the action, it's good to have 2 build station things, even if I don't get the bonus or I have to pay a bit of rubble. If I don't get the bonus, maybe I'll just build a station that wouldn't have got me a bonus anyway. And it changes your plan that way as well, based on the cards you've got available. Add to that the fact that you can you've got a starting set, whether you're the blue or the green player. You've got a different starting set, so you can switch up which colours you play to change your starting situation. And the train tracks are going to do that as well, based on what is coming out there. But then you've got a different mix of the cards that are available that you can get when you go to the pub. You can't do it straight away. You have to have built some stations and put in some work there. But once you can, it does so many things, because you've got 3 cards for each letter for each of the 5 actions, and you use two of the 3 in each game. So that's going to provide some variety, and they've got different actions on the back, but then they've got different scoring opportunities on the top. So you can kind of see at the start of the game that, a load of the ticket ones haven't come out, so maybe tickets isn't really going to be that rewarding, although sometimes it can be if you've got the actions that really want you to have tickets. But it's not just for the action that you're getting. It's not just for the scoring opportunity that maybe you're giving yourself and the scoring opportunity you're getting with the card that you are removing. But also, you can be thinking in terms of, okay, well, my A action is on its inferior side now, and I really don't want to do that. It's a terrible, terrible time to do it. But I can go to the pub and swap it out for another A action, and now that goes in golden side up. And so I flipped it back around, and maybe I don't want to, or maybe flat out can't do the other side of it. And so now I've got access to the action that I really want again. There's so much going on just in that element of it. And it's a big part of scoring and stuff. And it's just brilliant the way it works together. And add to that, something I really, really love about Snowdonia is the kind of rival company thing, the event cubes that come out. And if you're hoarding resources or you are dawdling with each other, the game will finish itself for you. That is present here as well, in a similar way, in that there are event cubes in the bag, and they could come out at any time, but the more resources players have in front of them, the fewer cubes are in the bag, the more likely it is for event cubes to come out. And these navies are super powerful because they completely clear a card. And if you can't place one, it ends the game. And once you've finished the end of the track for 5 of the 6 that are out, that ends the game as well. And so, you can't just judge it based on like in our playthrough game, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but watch that before these, if you aren't building track, the game is still progressing. The game is still being pushed towards its end by these navies that can really get in the way of what you want to do as well. So there's so much pressure on your actions in, if I don't do this now, is the other player going to do it? Or if I don't do it now, I can see the other player hasn't got the resources, so maybe I'd sit back and think, that's fine then. I can wait a little bit. But they've got no resources, so maybe they're going to grab resources. The stockyard is ready to be refreshed. If a event cube comes out and a navi tile is placed, then my whole plan is ruined. There's so many things, and all of this is just happening at once. There's so many things that I love about this game. And I hope that I've just explained it all like that. I can't really think of, like, if you want to play with more than 2 players, obviously it's not going to be for you. And there is a lot of, like, you can get wrapped up in a plan that isn't really going to be effective, and you can fall behind quite easily if someone manages to get like Marty did. I should probably have seen that he was stocking up on these cards that rewarded him for putting cards in his scoring pile, and probably should have taken some of those for myself and gone into that a little bit more, especially since I built a load of stations. You do have to. It's not about completely being in your own world and forming a great plan and trying to execute it. You also have to be so aware of other players, and you have to be aware of other players in most games, but you have to be completely aware of the route that they're going down, to see if you can piggyback off it, to see if you need to stop it because it's going to be such a massive amount of points that you can't let it happen, or to see what opportunities are being opened up in the actions the other player is doing. By building a station, have they now given access to a surveyor action? The surveyor is a brilliant thing as well, that comes over from Snowdonia. It worked in a much different way there. Now it's giving you special bonus actions that you can do, as well as triggering putting your cards in the scoring pile and getting new cards. You have all of these actions across the board that are being opened up as stations are being built. These actions are being unlocked that give you conversions for points or for other resources, converting rubble into iron and things like that. And so all of that is influencing where you want to build as well. It's just brilliant. But the playthrough is there, and you can see for yourself, because obviously I am too much in love with it to be telling you terrible things about it. But yeah, you can see from the playthrough, and something might stick out like a sore thumb at you. But other than me, if you don't like me, you might still like Foothills. But if you don't like me, I don't think you've been watching to this point. Thank you for watching though, and I'll see you for the next game. There's a lot more to film. Bye everyone.